Hey guys, I'm just sitting here down at my desk working on editing the clips for this week's video, and I wanted to quickly jump on and explain kind of the logic behind some of the meal prep. So at the beginning of the video, the first part of the video, we are prepping for traveling a few days during Thanksgiving. When we travel really anywhere, even if it is just a day trip, we don't love eating food out. Just because normally either eating out can take up a lot of time if you're eating out at like an actual restaurant, and if you're grabbing fast food, that's just straight up not the healthiest. So even if we're just doing a day trip, I do tend to pack us food anytime we go anywhere. Anytime I think we're gonna be in the car for more than an hour, 2 hours, and we didn't eat, I will even bring snacks in the car. So I do like to travel really prepared, and so at the beginning of this video, you're kind of seeing me prep some food so that I know we have several dinners, lunches, and even breakfast for the days we are out of town traveling to family for Thanksgiving. I knew that restaurants wouldn't really be open on Thanksgiving Day as well as the day after, and well, some restaurants were open the day after, but since we weren't actually staying at a family member's house, due to just not being enough room, we wanted to pack tons of food to have with us at the place we stayed. And then the second half of the video is us coming back from our Thanksgiving trip away, and I knew we were getting back Friday evening, and so I just used Saturday to prep a ton of meals and just make sure that I was ready to go come Monday morning. And that way I could have more of a relaxing day on Sunday, because I knew starting Monday morning we were gonna have a really, really heavy work week that coming week. And so the way work works for us is we have really busy weeks and really kind of slower weeks where I do have time to cook and make meals throughout the week, but I knew that the week ahead was going to be just needed to get a lot of work done. And so you're kind of just helping me, walking me through grocery shopping and preparing just some staples that I like to have on hand for the coming work week. Anyway, I hope you enjoy this week's video. Hey guys, I'm up early this morning prepping some food for our travels this week. We are traveling out of town for Thanksgiving. And then I am also doing some other meal prep, like cooking up some English muffins, just because I knew we were gonna need these when we came back. So I went ahead and made up the dough for that yesterday, as well as made the dough for my pizza and my sandwich bread. All right, so I'm gonna assemble my sandwiches. I've got some mayo, some homemade pesto, and some lettuce. I've got my homemade ciabatta bread, and then over here I have some breakfast items, cereal, milk, homemade granola, and I'm also gonna pack some yogurt just because it's higher in protein, and I really like having that for breakfast if I don't have access to a cook stove where I can actually cook up eggs. All right, I'm gonna quickly assemble these sandwiches. I made up all the dough for the bread I wanted to use this morning the day before, and then I got up early and cooked it. It really didn't take long since ciabatta bread cooks really quick, and so does homemade pizza. All right, so I'm adding mayo. I'm gonna add my also my homemade pesto. I was able to put up so much pesto this summer from all the basil I was able to grow. So that was amazing. I'm adding cheese, and I'm also going to add some lettuce and then some smoked turkey breast. I didn't have enough smoked turkey breast for all these sandwiches, so I ended up adding smoked salmon, which I love, so I'm gonna eat that one. Andrew doesn't really care. He'll eat it if I give it to him, but he doesn't love it like I do. So, all right guys, I will see you on the road. Good morning, guys. I am back. It is Saturday morning, and we had a great time being gone for Thanksgiving. It was a little exhausting, so I'm happy to be home. I'm just up brewing some coffee so I can get going on my meal prep today. All right, I'm just getting a quick lower body workout in this morning before I get going on whatever it is I'm trying to get done this Saturday. So again, I'm just starting with some light stretches to get the muscles warmed up prior to the workout starting. And so that just feels really good since I have been in the car a lot the day before. All right, so today's workout's lower body. We are starting with a back squat. So again, I have a home gym. I don't have a gym membership. So I do all my workouts at home. So, if I did have a gym membership, I probably would use maybe different weight or use a bigger variety. But since I have what I have, then that is what I use. So I love it. I love working out from home and not having to travel just to get a good workout in. That just seems like such a waste of time if you are a busy person to have to leave the house to get your workout in. You can get a really great workout in 20 or 30 minutes if you don't want to do more than that. And so if you're factoring in driving to the gym, finding parking, often gyms are crowded and it is hard to find parking. It just becomes so much more difficult to get a workout in. And so I love the whole workout from home thing. I'm a huge fan. And also, another plus is I get to shower as soon as I'm done. And since I sweat a lot during my workouts, to me, that is not something to frown at. Again, I started with back squats. I'm now doing sumo squats, as you can see. And for most of the movements I do in my workouts, I do pretty high reps just because I don't have super duper heavy weights. So I'll do anywhere from 20 to 40 reps, depending on the day, the workout, the weight I'm using. And so that's what I'm doing today. I'm getting in a lot of squats, lunges, kettlebell swings, glute bridges. Lots of good stuff. I'm definitely sore the next day. And so I can tell you this workout was great. All right, time to get going in the kitchen. I already showered and had breakfast. So I'm throwing together some bread for tomorrow or for the coming week. I'm also throwing together some sourdough flour tortillas. I haven't made this recipe in a while, so I'll tell you if it's good later on, but that's what I'm throwing together right now. I normally, if I want to throw together tortillas really quick, I don't do sourdough. I just do regular flour tortillas just because it's really quick and easy and I don't have to prepare ahead like on everything else that I do prepare ahead. Everything else for the most part, besides corn tortillas and flour tortillas, I do make sourdough. All right, so that is my flour tortilla dough. I'm just gonna set that aside and let it ferment. And now I am mixing up my bread dough. I'm going to add flour, water, my active starter, salt, and when I do my basic bread loaf, I don't measure at all. I eye it. I've made enough bread that I don't need to measure when I'm just making a basic bread recipe. I can quickly throw it together without thinking, and I just kind of know what to look for when it comes to consistency. I'm just quickly checking my prep list to see what it is I need to take out of the freezer for the coming week, and I think I'm going to grab some steak, some skirt steak for marinating. I'm going to be doing a carne asada marinade and then some beef ribeye. And then the other thing, as far as like a main dinner staple that I'll be making today, is a lentil veggie soup. When I do soup, I do love making lentil soup because it is just a great, if we're going to have a vegetarian meal, I think soup is my favorite way to do that. So I'm just quickly checking some things off, and then I'm going to start a batch of chocolate chip cookies. I would say cookies are definitely not a necessity in our meal prep, but if we're going to have dessert, it is nice to make them homemade. I generally always have the necessary ingredients on hand to quickly whip up a batch of cookies, and it does make my husband happy. So I'm just adding some sugar and melting my butter. And I'm going to be adding some cinnamon, vanilla, salt, and eggs. And then, of course, the usual dry ingredients as well. And these are going to be great to roll into balls and throw in the freezer. So we can just grab out however many we want to have at a time. All right, I'm adding my flour, baking powder, baking soda, and gonna get this all mixed up. And then I'm, of course, adding chocolate. You can't forget the chocolate. This is my favorite chocolate chips. If you're going to do a basic chocolate chip cookie, I think using a good chocolate chip makes a huge difference. And then I'm going to quickly do another stretch and fold on my bread dough real quick. And I'm going to be doing that 3 times, 30 minutes apart, and then I will let it do the bulk rise. All right, I'm gonna quickly get these cookies ready for the freezer. Time to start on the soup. I have a lot of frozen vegetables from summer that I chopped up ahead of time, so it really isn't gonna take me long to get the vegetables prepared. I am using mostly frozen vegetables, and then some fresh carrots I had in my fridge, and some garlic that I also had on hand. So again, this soup will be very easy, and since I have extra carrots, I am going to quickly chop these up to have on hand for snacking. Alright, I am going to add some beef tallow to my pan, my soup pot. I have so much beef tallow on hand because every time I cook up beef, I end up getting some extra beef fat that I save. And since we did buy a cow this year, I make a lot of beef. So beef fat is very easy for me to come by. I am throwing in my vegetables. These are garden tomatoes from this year's garden that I'm also going to add. And we're going to just let all of this cook down, and I'm going to be adding some salt and maybe a couple other seasonings as well. This is the curry powder, and then I'm also going to be adding coconut milk. This is kind of going to be a curry soup. And now I am just adding in the lentils that I was soaking and rinsed really well. And I'm just going to start to let those cook down, and then I'm going to add my beef broth that I had taken out of the freezer a couple days before. And so that is going to make this soup super delicious and nutritious. And now we are going in with another stretch and fold on the bread. This is my tortilla dough. All right, I'm quickly kind of checking my list to see what, and don't make fun of my list. I know this is like really messy, but I'm kind of trying to see what I still have left to do and what I need a grocery shop for today. I am going to be doing sprouts next. Making your own sprouts is such a win. It's something you can do year round, and it's a wonderful way to have something fresh to add to your meals. And it only takes about 5 days for them to mature, so I like to start batches, and I love having them with a bagel and cream cheese and smoked salmon, or just add them to any meal for some additional nutrients and flavor. So my soup's coming along. I'm going to add my coconut milk. I'm getting ready to have this simmer while I go to the grocery store. So that is why I'm adding more liquid, and I decided to add a second can of coconut milk as well. I don't really follow recipes. I just kind of like to cook by eyeing things, unless it is something that's really new. And then I am going to be quickly cleaning out my fridge and kind of just making sure I take inventory of what I have and what I'm going to need to get, so that when I do grocery shop, I don't forget anything. All right, guys, we are here, and I'm going to take you inside. All right, we are back from the grocery store. I have some fresh produce for my meals. I have some chips, love to have those on hand. I have eggs, yogurt, mayonnaise, and Andrew loves orange juice, so we did get that for him. And I have some carrots and beets in the paper bag for juicing, and bacon and smoked salmon. All right, and this is kind of the wrapped up meal prep. The frozen cookie dough, once it's frozen, I'm throwing it in the freezer, and these cookies turned out delicious. I also have my soup all jarred up and ready to be used up this week or frozen. And then I also have my beef carne asada marinating for this week. And before ending today's video, I am showing you some clips from the next day. This is Sunday morning. I went ahead and made my loaf that we had started the day before on Saturday, and this dough had just been fermenting all night in the fridge, so that is ready to be made up into a loaf. And then I'm going to put this into the fridge and let it proof while I'm at church, and when I get back sometime this afternoon, whenever I feel like it, I will just pop this loaf in the oven. That's why whiskey makes me cry. Oh, it tastes bittersweet. I catch myself starting to think of cry to me on repeat the whole time you first kissed me. A stranger that walked into my life at the wrong time. That's why whiskey makes me cry. I am back from church, and I am going to get my bread that has been proofing in the fridge into the cast iron Dutch oven, and it will bake for 30 minutes with the lid on, and then another 10 minutes with the lid off. Taste your charm in the bitter, shrink a little quicker. I'm in love with the liquor. Okay guys, here is the final product from the meal prep we did today. Please comment below. I would love to know what your favorite staples are to have on hand for a busy work week. Thank you so much for joining me for today's video. I will talk to you guys next week.